welcome to another video on the JayBee and Milly channel. Today we're going to be doing another Scooby top 10. It seems like a while since we last did one, but this top 10 is something we've been discussing for a while, and that is the top 10 villains we would like to see the live action Mystery Incorporated show tackle. So JayBee, as always, will have some elaborate criteria, but I guess for me it was about a couple of things, like what I'd like to see done in live action. Things that I think they'd handle really well based on how it is that they're portraying Scooby-Doo. So that was my criteria, JayBee.
Okay, my criteria is based on three core components. The first and foremost is storyline. So what they've set up in episode 1, where I can see that translating into what could happen in the later series, just so it's a bit comprehensive. Like, this is maybe spoiler alert, but we have the Hex Girls in episode 1, and it's like, where does that lead, as opposed to, oh, now we've got a 10,000 volt ghost showing. It's more thinking about the future of the storyline of the series. The second component that I have is if it's not been done in a live action movie before, because of course episode 1 we have Minor 49er, episode 2 it's Tease for the Black Knight Ghost. Two great villains, but we've seen them in live action before. I'd like to see stuff that we haven't seen before. And third and foremost, just how I think it would fit in with the world and the tone of the show. So there's some villains that are kind of silly that I don't think would fit the vibe of Mystery Incorporated. So these may be a bit on the scarier side. So that's my criteria.
Me and JayBee don't discuss the criteria first. So this is the first time I'm hearing that says criteria. Mine is completely different. And I'm going to throw a few things out there that you're going to be like, what's going on?
Yeah, maybe. But that's what this is all about. Reminder for people to, comment down below what monsters you want to see in Mystery Incorporated next. So do you want to start with number 5?
Yes. Okay, mine's ridiculous.
Okay.
It doesn't feed into the story at all.
No, that's okay.
This is kind of like me saying I would like to see them adapt this movie into live action. And that's Loch Ness.
Ooh.
I'd like to see them take on the Loch Ness. It's seen as a villain, right? It's something I think they could handle.
What, you mean the Loch Ness Monster?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's something I think they'd handle really well. I really like how, and it's one of my favourite movies, and I trust how they've been portraying things and keeping it interesting, and I think it'd be a fresh take. I'd also, of course, love it if it was kind of on site in Scotland and things like that, because it's bringing the UK into things a little bit.
Well, I did think about that actually, because for all that is on, the surface, kind of they're in Coolsville, which is presumably in some LA place in America. But they're in school. I would like to see some type of school trip. So if it's to Scotland, then that's perfect. I don't think I've utilised that, but the concept of a school trip is one that I think that they should do. And they don't need to go to location or anything, just...
Oh, I'd like them to do location and stuff.
I'd like them to, but the expense to get a camera crew and, it might be a bit cumbersome, but I'd love to see it. I'd love to see that.
Okay, then, your 5th place.
Okay. My 5th place, and this is kind of ridiculous because we've almost seen it, but again, I think it would factor into the spookier vibe, and that is the Lunar Ghost. I would like to see
knew that was going to be on there.
A whole episode dedicated to the Lunar Ghost, or at the very least some type of flashback. I can see Old Man Smithers being one of the janitors in, Coolsville High, and I just think the whole premise of that would be kind of fun. We saw the Lunar Ghost in the start of the live action movie kidnapping Daphne. I want to see the Lunar Ghost be the villain in the episode where this version of Fred and Daphne realise that they're gonna come together and be that couple that I think a lot of people want them to be. Of course, Dade and Jessica are an IRL couple. I want to see the Lunar Ghost trying to get a bit friendly with the booty, and Dade's like, nah, man, and he just gets his muscles out, and yeah, Lunar Ghost is flat and spark out. I'd love to see that. Bring us the Lunar Ghost. They'll call it Mystery Incorporated, The Case of the Lunar Ghost, and I'm hyped.
Interesting. Right, we're moving on to number 4, and I think you're going to tell me I've lost it.
Have you lost the plot with all of you?
Sarah Ravencroft.
Ooh.
They've already got the Hex Girls. They're clearly not scared of making things supernatural. They're not going to follow Warner Brothers structure. So I'm going to say we've seen Return to Zombie Island. It was a favourite. It was slaughtered. We've seen Curse of the 13th Ghost. wasn't done particularly well. I enjoyed it, but I had big issues. If they're going to recreate another one of my favourites, I'd rather that they did it than Warner Brothers did it. And I think they could handle it well.
Do they have the demon chest? Like, they have some artifacts, don't they? The hex girls were, like, chanting at the end of the...
It looked like the chest of demons.
See, I didn't think about that. What we should have done if we had time was rewatched it before. But I think we've watched it like 3 times already, 4 times.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
What do you think to Sarah Ravencroft?
I don't think I can quite say, because I think I may have it a little bit higher on my list than
really?
you.
I thought you were going to tell me I'd completely lost my mind.
No, I've got something special to say about Sarah Ravencroft.
Well, my first place, you're going to be like, what is that? I'm excited by this. Continue.
Okay, so number 4 is the Beast of the Bottomless Lake. Because from what they've named their town Coolsville, but I think it's almost more Crystal Cove than Coolsville. And I think we see some water by it. Maybe I'm completely hallucinating. But I do think it seemed more like a harbour town. I don't know. Again, maybe
or at
school
least
trip.
near a lake. Was it Daphne's house was near one?
Maybe. Or again, maybe we can have a school trip. But that, to me, is the perfect blend between Scooby kookiness and horror. In that we could open it, and this is a bit cliche, but imagine just a group of Coolsville High students, maybe they're partying a bit, maybe they're going for a little bit of frisky in a boat.
Oh, gosh.
And they're getting kind of romantic, and the woman, the girl, the lady, her hand maybe goes, this is like Cabin in the Woods, maybe like goes out of the boat for a bit, maybe they're like teasing each other by splashing each other, and then one of the hands gets grabbed, they both start screaming, and the boat just completely gets immersed under the water. Intro. Like, I don't know. I just feel something about a water-based creature kind of pushing this version of the gang towards their limits. And again, I don't know how the budget would work out, but I would love to see an iconic mystery scuba scene with this crew. And how, because it's more realistic, right? How dark and murky the water could be, how spooky it would be. And again, maybe the murkiness of the water helps with the budget, because then all you need maybe is the top prop of a fin, and that'll be the main thing that kind of builds up suspense, and then maybe you get the bottomless lake creature outside of the water a bit. I just think it'd be great, and the potential's endless when it comes to like water horror. You know, I think it'd be great.
I mean, if they had an unlimited budget, there's so many things I would like to see them do. Honestly, I almost want to do a top 10 of movies that I'd want them to recreate as well.
Oh, yeah.
Because there's so many movies that I think they'd handle well. Do you know what? Probably will be hated for saying this. I'd love to see them do a Zombie Island. Genuinely. Because I feel like it'd be handled so much better than The Return was.
See, I want to say I'd like that as well. I just don't think, and this is maybe a compliment to this version, I don't think that this cast is old enough, perhaps. Because we get the sense that they're kind of middle-aged and zombies. Even they look young because they're animated. They're all kind of tired of mysteries and stuff. Whereas this gang is kind of at the start of their journey. But ultimately, if they did this whole series and then did like a special 5-year anniversary after the whole thing's said and done. Because by the rate we're going, it will take about more than a year to get every episode done. I would love that.
I mean, you could say that this was almost like them in school and that's them after college.
Oh, don't do that to me. That would be great.
It would be great. I would love to see it.
And can we get a Scooby alum dealing with that, please? Because Peter Crosman, VFX for the first 2 live-action films, was the on-site VFX supervisor on Fear the Walking Dead. He could make such creepy zombies. Stop it.
Yeah.
Don't do that to me.
There's stuff I'd like to see them do. So, are we on to 3rd place now? Did you do your 4th?
Yeah, well, that was my 4th one, yeah.
Yeah, so this one, I don't know if you're going to agree with me. Charlie the Robot.
No, I see it. I don't not see it. I definitely see the spooky vibe. But explain, what would your vision be for that kind of
here's
scenario?
The thing, I'm almost not envisioning them doing anything original. I just want them to recreate things. I think they'd handle that really well, just been in that kind of abandoned funfair kind of feel. Ultimately they're going for a darker vibe here, right? Mm-hmm. Imagine that, been in a dark kind of theme park. They'd even handle doing stuff like Cyber Chase really well. I genuinely can't, like...
Ooh. I'll say that to that point. The Phantom Virus did just miss my list.
Oh, I just want to see them recreate so many things. I don't know, I feel like Daphne would have a really good running. I think, like, just him as an actor would have a great running with Charlie the Robot and stuff like that. I just see it working well. And Charlie the Robot's also something that I think would lend itself to live action brilliantly.
Yeah. It's like a Cyberman, really, from, like, Doctor Who. They could make it... Like, obviously we don't need, like, a preachy episode about internet safety, but it could be somewhat to do with hacking. Maybe the overall villains controlling Charlie to get information on mystery.
And hear me out, we're now in an era where people understand technology better. It wouldn't just be a concept. Velma would have an understanding to be more involved in, this is the programming in Charlie's brain, this is how we turn the programming off, you need to connect this to this, so Shaggy and Scooby, you're going to have to get close enough to attach this to Charlie. And now they understand technology better. It's no longer just a concept, it's an understanding.
That would be fun. Imagine, like, in a lot of the other episodes, we've got Velma that's really good at science and maths, but what if we have Shaggy actually be really good with technology and he's, like, the brain behind that? That would show a lot of, like, they're not just caricatures, they're, like, people. I could see Shaggy just being in the computer rooms that break and stuff. Like, yeah, I want to see that. Maybe I should have included that.
Thank you.
Okay.
So your third place?
And I'm really happy with this. Again, I have reservations about this, which is why this isn't number one, to be honest. But this could have been number one. And that is the Ghost Clown. Because the hypnotizing, now it was kind of used to funny effect in the animation, but imagine how dark and twisted you could make this. Like, imagine Kilgrave from Jessica Jones, but in the realm of Mystery Incorporated. Like, you could make this so dark, like maybe planting one of the members of the gang to be like a betrayer or like a saboteur, like within that group. And I think it would just get absolutely wild with the stuff that they could do with this. Like,
I do have to agree with you, and that's why it's in my second place spot.
Oh,
because I think seeing cartoon characters get hypnotized, it's scary, don't get me wrong, but seeing that in live action suddenly gets a million times scary.
The Kilgrave thing is what does it for me, because in the wrong setting, if they do it wrong, with all due respect, they've got a Walmart Pennywise, but if they frame it a bit more Kilgravey but with the aesthetic of a clown, then that's a recipe for something quite unique but also twisted. Like, and oh gosh, the clown can look scary. Like, if you saw the deleted Scooby-Doo 2 footage that I'll include in the description, the clown looked like nightmare fuel. Imagine if Kilgrave looked like that. And again, we could have him out of the costume with the same hypnotizing skills. It could almost be a mixture between a Who Is It and also, like, okay, so say if Velma does solve the mystery, maybe she's just been hypnotized. Maybe the gang need to get to know each other and trust each other enough. Like, maybe they don't have the memories that the gang do. So not only is it a getting to know each other episode, because they need to know maybe like one or two things about the other that they can quiz them on, that can verify that it's actually them. Like, that to me is a great middle episode, but it isn't filler. Like, if the Ghost Clown would just be absolutely crazy. And I think YouTube is the only thing, to be honest, that's stopping it from being true horror. Because could you imagine, like, you could just be like, okay, Fred, go to the top of like the Coolsville clock tower and jump off it, and that would be kind of like tense or something. Like, they could do crazy things with that. I'd love that.
Okay, so we've covered my second place. What's yours?
This is similar to the Ghost Clown in that it's quite horror based, but I would like to see one of the students encompass a younger version of the Jekyll and Hyde character from, I think it's Where Are You season 2, and that's literally just a nice guy that is kind of crazy sometimes. Like, it's literally just Jekyll and Hyde, but modern in the realm of Scooby-Doo. There's not much that I can say about it. It's just 1 minute he's just a background character, next minute he's doing awful things. I don't know. It just seems like something that only an adult orientated like show could do justice. And that's it. It only wins out to the Ghost Clown just because it's more unique than Pennywise. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you can get 2 Pennywise if they do the ghost clone wrong. Whereas Jekyll and Hyde is meant to pay homage to something that's been done before. It's more, in your face, like, yeah, this is just something else, and it's dark.
And with that, we're reaching the top spot. But before we do, I guess, as we've said throughout, there's several villains that could have made it here. I mean, certainly the Phantom Virus, did I say that right? I did, didn't I? The Headless Horseman, so many others could have made it here. But for me, my top spot, and when I say this, everyone's going to be a bit confused. Velma.
Oh.
On a couple of occasions now, Velma's been the villain. And be it that she was hypnotised, like in Curse of the Lake Monster, or just outright to protect something she stands for, like in Where's My Mummy. I want to see how they'd handle that, because ultimately, in like Where's My Mummy, that could have broken down an entire friendship, no? Like, there was a certain level of portrayal there. The gang were certainly in danger from a few things.
Oh, yeah.
And yet she was behind it all. I want to see how they'd handle a scenario like that. So I realise that one's a bit out there, but that's my top spot.
No, I like that. That's very interesting, but I think interesting enough to make it like, I think some people might like that. It depends how they do it, because again, this is a fresh take. They could do whatever with this, really.
Okay, so your top spot.
Okay.
Kind of giving this away already, no?
No, I have honourable mentions. So, like you say, the the Phantom Virus would be incredible. I would love to see this gang embrace a bit of the cartoonishness. Like, yes.
One of the levels could be going into the actual animated world.
That's what I'm thinking. They're their own thing. They can stand on their own. In fact, I want them to more than I want them to pay homage to the animation. Just because I feel like we've seen so many animated things. We've seen so many things that stay that, and I don't want that to go away, obviously. But I think this should be its own thing. But if they went into the realm of the cyber chase, 100% it should be them being the mystery that more people know them as. It just doesn't really get in there for me because I think it would just be so difficult budget-wise and I guess practically to do the levels justice, and it would either be a rehash or it would be a watered down or something, So I just think the Phantom Virus should just be around doing their own thing. But I actually don't know how that would work. Second, I have kind of the Freak of Crystal Cove, but I guess it would be the Freak of Coolsville. And that's more conceptually, I would quite like the father or the parent of one of the characters, preferably Shaggy, because, having a father in the police force who happens to be evil would be amazing. So just the fact that I think one of their parents should be a villain in this to an extent. And I think the person that we would least expect it would be one of the sheriffs or something. So, yeah. But again, these are just concepts that are just not materialising. So that's why they're not, in the top spot or in the list. But yeah, you're right. I did ruin it. Number 1 for me is Sarah Ravencroft.
I am shocked. I thought you were going to make some ridiculous suggestion that related to 2002. And
Well, I had the Luna Ghost in there.
So why top spot?
I just think if you've got the Hex Girls in episode 1 set up to unleash like different creatures, then Endgame has to be, or at least in my opinion, it would be nice to see it be Sarah Ravencroft.
I mean, hear me out here. You said episode 1's them unleashing creatures, and Witch's Ghost them returning them to the book. So could it be that they unleash a problem that they have to return? Similar to returning Sarah Ravencroft to the spellbook.
Well, I would say that for each one that they unleash, they're a step closer to Sarah Ravencroft, and then she will ultimately teach them different magics, different powers. It's all to get different abilities. Like, I don't know. I'm feeling it.
And that last line of the spell, like, which return to which you've come, just envisioning what that would look like.
I think that would be great. I just think it needs to be set up properly. Like, we should almost have it spoiled to us, but not really. Like, go with the Spectacular Spider-Man method. Like, have the villains introduced and just let them exist for a while. Like, don't just say, oh, here we have, Mr. Wickles. Oh, now he's a Black Knight Ghost. Like, we need to have that build-up. So I'd almost want to say, give us Ben Ravencroft as a teacher or a guest lecturer in the next episode, and then just let that sit there for a while until we're ready to make him more relevant. Like, that's kind of what I want to see from it. But yeah.
Perfect.
Because I think Ben Ravencroft should be there, Sarah Ravencroft. It should be different from the Witch's Ghost, but at the same time, if they're unleashing different monsters from the Scooby history, and it's the Hex Girls, Sarah Ravencroft has to be in that roster somewhere. And they could do it dark as well, like full-on witch stuff. It'll be scary.
See, this is why, like, there's certain movies where it's like, they're about to make another recreation of Zombie Island. Who do you choose to do it? It wouldn't be Warner Brothers because they're just going to try and remove the supernatural again. I feel like, this group would really do it well. So I trust them with a lot of iconic Scooby villains that are close to the heart that I think they could still do well with. I think ultimately what stopped me from putting Sarah Ravencroft higher was because I do have that fear. Witch's Ghost is my kind of iconic Scooby childhood movie.
Just don't give us that disgusting outfit that Daphne had in The Witch's Ghost. Every time I see that, I just want to throw up everywhere.
I'm trying to remember which outfit you mean.
From Zombie Island to Cyber Chase, Daphne just has this awful outfit, and it literally makes me want to throw up everywhere.
Yeah.
So does Fred's, though. To be fair, I like the classic outfits are good. That's something else. They did it in Curse of the Lake Monster. I'd like them to have some reason to just wear their iconic outfits, but I think that would maybe be a bit too ridiculous. But I want to see it happen.
I don't.
I want to see it.
No.
Like at a costume party or something. I don't know. Or maybe someone has a lucid dream.
They've done Velma's really well to almost be the same, but ultimately, both Daphne and Fred needed that update.
I want Scooby-Doo as well. But I know you don't agree, but yeah.
Okay, with that, let us know in the comments section which villains you would most like to see appear in the Mystery Incorporated live-action series. And let us know which ones of ours you most agreed with as well.
Yeah, so if you do want to see more, then please like, comment, and subscribe. And we're going to be keeping up with, content surrounding this show and episode 2 when that comes out to us. So please like, comment, and subscribe to JayBee and Milly.